this is a fully mature Termitomyces mushroom, where we can see the perforation by some insects of the stripe. Many times there is a general observation that when we cut down the stripe, then we find crawling, that larvae inside. So how they reach? It's possible that many of these, the eggs are laid inside by some unidentified beetles or unidentified insects by drilling through this soft tissue here, because the perforatorium or the pulse root-like organ which connects the stripe to the underground underground substrate is hard, that cannot be easily drilled. So the softer part can be pierced easily, as you can observe here this small hole here. You can focus here and see this near my finger. Okay, so there is a small, very small hole, just like a pinhole, through which some insect has entered inside. I do not really know, but this type of perforation means it looks like, in the natural world we are, knowledgeable about how birds damage fruits, how bats damage fruits, nuts, monkeys and all those higher animals. But in fungal world, especially mushroom world, Gastromycetes like say puffballs, Lycopterodon, then Bovista, Scleroderma, many a times these fruit bodies which come on nutrient-rich substrates, grasses, we find them with small holes, and when we cut these open, the peridium and all gleba, inside the soft spongy tissue we find the beetles. So they are host-specific mycophilic beetles. Now that type of specificity is totally unknown in this genus. That is association of specific mycophilic insects or beetles which are capable of perforating or drilling through the soft root body tissue for completing their life cycle by production of the larval stage. It's just not available, that type of information. So how does it help the mushroom? That we really don't know, because if this is the microhabitat of these insects, specifically beetles, then Meredith Blackwell and her students in USA, they have done a detailed study of the association of the mycophilic beetles with mushrooms and other macrofungi, and they found that these beetles carry certain endosymbiotic yeast. So one of my students, around 8 years ago, Chinchur Emnan, I asked her to sample mushrooms like this, and then I will see where the beetles can be found in any of these specimens, and I can show it on the camera also whether they are still active, means trying to hide somewhere, but mostly we'll find them in this area. They hide here somewhere, and they are very comfortable inside this nutrient-rich tissues. Sometimes between the genes we find them and we have to fish them out. So she also found, after examination of several mushrooms, not only this species, that there have been number of beetles, and from the beetle guts she isolated unique species of yeast. She got some 3 species of yeast. So it's very complex type of relationship, trophic, meaning you have macrofungi of fungal kingdom, you have species like this Termitomyces in fungal kingdom. These complete their life cycle during the monsoon season in Goa and rest of India, where this genus occurs. The next stage is the insects which depend on this type of species, and then finally the life cycle of the insects, which seems to be entwined and some sort of coordinated and overlapping with the ephemeral or short-lived life cycle, because these mushrooms, if I leave them in the lab tonight, tomorrow they will be completely autolyzed and soft and stinking. Within 2 days, it would be a terrible stinking mess. And even outside in the open nature, it's quite common to see them decomposing automatically and discharging the spores and then completing their life cycle. So 3 to 4 days after they grow and mature and come to this stage, complete final mature stage, and then their autolysis, and at the same time what happens to the insects whom we blame that they are perforating and damaging the tissues and all. The insects also, as per the standard model of what we know about mycophilic beetles and all, is that they may not be associated with any other species of plants or shrubs or any member of herbaceous vegetation lying around, but they just can't leave this mushroom species. Now if that much of specificity is associated with mycophilic beetles, then in this genus also there may be large number of termitophilic beetle species. And it is well known that in the world of biodiversity, the estimate is beetles are the most dominant group of species on earth. So scientists have been exploring various habitats of beetles, but this is an underexplored habitat of beetles, and they are quite capable also. Either this is like a crime scene, that hole is put inside and the burglar is absent, we don't know what has created the beetle or snail or whatever. So either gastropod or beetle, and the beetle has to be quite strong, like a rhinoceros beetle, to drill like this. I can't imagine any other species which can drill through this, because it needs a lot of time to drill and put a hole like this, and this is not accidental. Millipedes also cannot do, because they are very soft type of this one. They can't chew hard tissues. So then the question is this. Now what is it that has left here a chewing mark here? Now, this is not easily said to be a beetle's job. This is a constant foraging by snails, because snails and larger snails, land snails, this is not damage done by small snails, because already on my YouTube channel there are videos I took in Santa Cruz, close to my house, few years ago, where using a torch at night I recorded the mycophagic behavior of these beetles, these snails. In fact, they were all really, devouring the tissue. And the black area around this is a layer of melanin, a very strong pigment. So the injury causes synthesis of this black pigment, so that the tissue becomes hard. This is similar to what happens to human skin after surgery or injury and all. That part of the skin which is healed, it becomes darker as compared to rest of the skin. So in the same way here we see damage and injury to the style, which is quite apparent and attributed to the terrestrial snails, mostly nocturnal type, because we don't see any evidence of these large snails anywhere now when we collected this. So in the next part we will see some other interesting biological aspects of this